What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's your girl, Miss Honey. I am so late for Married to Medicine and Real Housewives of Atlanta. Child, please. Okay, I was in Florida all weekend. Y'all know they moved Married to Medicine to Saturday. Now, who is gonna lead a party in Florida to go and watch Married to Medicine and do a review? Who doing that? No. I knew y'all would be here, honeybees. I know y'all done seen all the videos out there. And I know y'all been waiting on Miss Honey to come in and ride through. So we're going to do things a little bit differently because you guys have by now have heard all the blow by blow. We're not going to do blow by blow. We're going to talk about this argument between Heavenly and Mariah, in this situation with Mariah and the girls. And we also going to talk about this Toya situation as it pertains to Contessa and her husband and this trip and all of that. And we also going to talk about how these men folks consistently put these women to shame when it comes to squashing beefs, moving past situations, and communicating calmly and professionally. All right, so let's do this. If you are new to my channel, please remember to subscribe. I would love to have you. You're more than welcome. Take your shoes off and set a spell, okay? Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It's important, as well as let's talk about it down below. If you go back to my videos, read through those comments, you will see that they are smart and funny and insightful and witty. We love to go back and forth in conversation about our shows. So please join us down below in the comments as well. All right, you guys, let's talk about this episode, BBQs, Biscuits, and Birth Control. This episode really should have been called Honey, Where's the Honey? And Honey. Oh, everybody was looking for honey. Everybody was looking for honey this episode, okay? And 151 proves. That's what this episode should have been called. Now, make no mistakes about it. All this arguments and emotionalism and flying off the handle and blowing stuff out of proportion is due to drinking Prosecco, champagne, wine, 151 proof rum, baby. That rum punch is no joke. It will have you butt naked howling at the moon, y'all. I'm telling y'all. Listen. Grain alcohol, rum, them high proofs, I'm telling you, will have you howling at the moon. That's how I know old Tasha Skanks wasn't drunk from drinking that whiskey, baby, because that whiskey will knock you on your boom boom. And she was doing too much conversation in an upright position that had been drinking Jack Daniels whiskey straight out the bottle. Nah. Anyway, episode picks up where it left off. At the end of last week, we saw Heavenly being held back as she destroyed the city in the background. Damon and Aiden was having words, and Mariah was going off. Aiden and Mariah are leaving, and Simone want to have a talk with them. And of course, she once again wants to get on Mariah for Mariah letting Heavenly get away with the fact that she keeps in provoking her to argue. They don't want her to engage. And Mariah's frustration and Aiden does a beautiful job in this episode. He does a beautiful job explaining his position. Aiden is not a weak man. Now, he may not be full on black, but Aiden is a man. And Aiden speaks his mind, okay? And Aiden speaks intelligently. He's had his moments, his silly moments, his goofy moments. But in this episode, Aiden is very, very clear. And he holds his own with Damon. Not in an aggressive, angry way, but he has good reason to be upset too. And he defends his wife beautifully. Okay? And I don't find no fault with that. Everybody defend their wife, defend their spouse. Aiden ain't no different. He ought to defend his wife too. That's his ship. If he want to go down with it or paddle on the side, he can do it. All right. But this is what they're upset about. They feel like they always trying to get Mariah to be the bigger person, but nobody is publicly reprimanding Heavenly. They always seem to want to reprimand her. But Heavenly and Mariah are the same person. Mariah just a little bit more classy based with it, and Heavenly is just a bull in a china shop. You know what I mean? Like she just rough with it. I mean, it is what it is. But they both vicious. They both say things. Mariah is just has a little bit more temperance than Heavenly. She knows how to aim it and make it very well placed. And she's very slick with it. So a lot of times you don't even know you've been cut till you walk off a couple of feet and realize, oh, she just cut me. Whereas Heavenly is right there in your face. But she just spit it out and lay it at your feet. Now what? What you gonna do? Hmm? What you gonna do? You gonna be a baller? Huh? You gonna be a shot caller? What you gonna do now? Okay. So yeah, they're the same people. But when they all come down the next morning after sleeping on things and reevaluating things. Eugene and Toya is throwing a barbecue. Ladies all sit by the pool, and the dudes all go out to the barbecue grill. And the guys just start talking about when Scott comes down, talks about how the night went south. It was a good night, but that last little part, that last little leg of the night, that went all the way south, like it was completely turned. Damon is just standing there looking at Aiden, and he's just like, Damon was like, I really couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't sleep last night because I wasn't happy with how things went. It's just how Damon is. You know what I'm saying? He really is kind hearted. He does give us grimace. He does, buddy. He gives us grimace, but he's so kind hearted. Now, do I believe he didn't cheat on his wife? Anything wrapped in flesh is liable to do anything. Now, Aiden ain't perfect. I mean, Damon ain't perfect. Aiden ain't either, but Damon ain't perfect. Okay. And even though he may never have cheated on his wife, and he says that, there may be some things out there suggest otherwise. Now, whether he acted on it or not, I don't know. But all I'm saying is he just as likely to have done it as he is not to have done it. Okay. It just is what it is. So he says, makes a comment about the fact that things are being said to his wife and things are being said about him, and he hasn't done anything to anybody. What do I have to do with it? I know the lady's gonna have their argument, but why you bringing me into it? And Aiden says likewise. Listen, I had to defend my wife. And all I said was, hey, this is my family here. This is family here. She's going too far. And your wife has said some ugly things about me. They flash back to her calling his penis small. This was right before Mariah said, oh, I got the receipts if you want them. All right. So, like I said, they birds of the same feather. You know what I'm saying? One's pot, one's kettle. Both of them black. Both of them black. All right. So, this is the situation. But Damon stands his ground. He understands what Aiden says. He stands his ground. He reiterates, and he says, the things that are being said that they're hurtful. Aiden was like, yeah, the things that are being said about my wife and my mother-in-law, I have to defend them. I have to stand up for them, and it's hurtful to us too when those things go on. And to me, for somebody to say your mama don't bother me like it did when I was in grade school, and I don't really know nobody that still do that, but the fact that Mariah is upset about it is why Heavenly should stop doing it. That's just it. That's what it is. That's what it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She don't like it. Some people don't like bitch. Now, if you don't like being called a bitch in this world, it's gonna be tough for somebody to kid and laugh at you because people do it all the time. Bitch, what bitch? No, bitch, for real, bitch? Bitch, please. Bitch, guess what I found? Bitch, guess what he told me? I mean, it don't make it right. I'm just saying it's very commonplace. All right. At the same time, if somebody don't want to be called bitch, then you have to stop it. You can't do that. Don't do it. They're not supposed to just fold into the shit that you want to do, and you don't have to compromise on your end. No, no. We all got to compromise. I'm gonna work on it. It might slip out. I'm gonna work on it though. I'm gonna work on it. I understand you don't like it, and I'm gonna work on that. That's all that take. Anyway, but they was able to resolve it, the two of them, and hug. The ladies out at the pool, Contessa come out. Contessa try to hug Toya, and Toya is just like, oh, please do not touch me. And of course, Heavenly don't speak to Mariah. So Simone wants to jump in and play peacemaker, and Mariah takes the helm. She apologizes to Quad and tells Quad, I shouldn't have commented on your marriage and I won't do that again. And Quad was like, please don't. This is what I don't understand. When you and Mariah was down on the other end of the table last week and y'all was talking privately, I'm sure they didn't I am sure that they did not show us everything. But at the same time, you didn't really seem like you was that pressed. You seemed like you was willing to have an earnest conversation with Mariah. It was Heavenly that interrupted and jumped in an aggressive way. Make no mistake about it. They the same person. They got a lot of the same ways. But in this incident, Heavenly did start it. She did start it. She didn't have nothing to do with that. It was a whole person sitting between Mariah and Quad. And Quad didn't seem threatened. She didn't seem afraid. She didn't seem like she needed anybody to take up for her. Quad can stand her own ground with Mariah. The other thing is Mariah and Quad have a relationship that Heavenly cannot get in between. I don't care how much she tried to do it. I don't care how much she tried to side with Quad. The reason why I know this is because of Lady Nika. Lady Nika did a video where she had read an article on the vlogger that also was accompanied by a police report, which they call that receipts. Now, I don't know if they was doctored or what, but they had a police report where Lake, who is Mariah's sister, according to them, doesn't like Quad because Quad slept with her husband back in the day, and she had to roll up on Quad and kick Miss Quad's behind, and the police was called. There's a police report about it. Now, everybody wondering why Mariah would bring her to the show if this happened. Why isn't Mariah saying anything? One of the number one reasons why she wouldn't say a word about it is because they both know where the body's buried. They've been running together long enough to have done some serious dirt. You got two people that's going to just be like, we ain't going to go but so far. It's because they both could probably get into some serious trouble if they got to talking too much about what was said and what was done. It could muck everything up. That might be a reason why ain't nobody talking about it. But I do find it interesting. I also do I also feel like it's the number one reason why Heavenly, you're never ever going to be able to fit in with Quad like Mariah is. They argue, they fuss, they fight, but them girls got a relationship that ain't nobody going to be able to come between. And that's just it. That's just what it is. I just thought it was odd that Quad was acting like she was just so offended when she didn't seem like that at the night that night at the table. She seemed like that those feelings she was having about what was happening with her husband, that was more of her grandstanding. That was more of her emotionalism and just being dramatic, being dramatically Quad, which she does a lot. But she didn't seem like she was mad at Mariah. She seemed like she wanted to hear Mariah out. And maybe she would have told Mariah, please, 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 please. I don't want you in my business. I don't want you talking about it. But we would never know because Heavenly jumped in. Heavenly did throw a chair. Okay, Mariah did break a glass. They both wrong. I agree with the statement that Toya made at the end, which was um you both have been very, very disrespectful, not only to each other, but to us as a group and to this trip. I agree with that because two grown people with children ought to know better how to argue and how to disagree with one another and just how to avoid altogether all that confrontation. But at the same time, Mariah and Heavenly have the same agenda. Keep this show popular, keep this show popping, keep it entertaining. And in order to do that, you need to have discourse. And that discourse needs to be moderately entertaining. That's who the two of them are. That's who the two of them are. I don't think Mariah could care less if she ever talked to Heavenly again and vice versa. I do think she sorely, sorely misses Quad though. I do believe that. Like I said, she leads in with the Quad situation and apologizes to Quad. And Quad is like, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now, her and Heavenly been in the room talking all night. So you know what I'm saying? They got their forces aligned. So when she get to Heavenly, she half apologizes. I mean, it is a base model apology. She apologizes around it. She sprinkles what could be perceived as a mild apology over the top of it. It never really manifests itself as an earnest apology. And she says that she broke the glass accidentally. We all know she didn't break the glass accidentally, but at the same time, would you admit to it on live TV? Would you do that? Would you? Would you admit to something that could possibly get you kicked off the show like that? Would you? I mean, come on. Like I said, they working together to keep the show entertaining. At the same time, they don't like each other. Well, she also brings up the fact that she broke the glass accidentally. Heavenly was like accidentally. She was like, yeah, much like your husband did last year. Um, it was a valid sale. It was also a low blow. She should have never brought Damon up. I think if Mariah owes anybody an apology, it's Damon. She owes Damon an apology because the way she spoke to him at that table about his wife, get your bitch, get your bitch. Oh no, no, no. That was wrong. That was wrong. That was wrong. It was. I don't think she necessarily owed um Heavenly apology for breaking that glass. I think she would have owed her apology if she came after her with that glass. But Heavenly started it. Heavenly started it. And Mariah said some things. Heavenly said some things. Heavenly is just making this heartfelt plea because she wants to convince us that she is turning and she's changing because she's going to therapy. But the fact of the matter is she was waiting to bite Mariah's head off about talking to Quad. She was ready to bite Mariah's head off for Quad. She was gonna gather Mariah for Quad. All right, that's basically how that got going. That's just what it is. So Heavenly walks off. She's done with it. At the same time, Jackie breaks the glass. This is why they don't allow glass around pools, y'all. This is why they don't want glass on the beach. Glass, especially thin glass, and you can look at the glasses and tell they paper thin, don't belong near water or sand. If they can't sit up and stand up straight, they don't need to be out. You know what I'm saying? Like but she broke that glass on purpose. Anyway, the men just come together. At the same time, they trying to bring Toya and Contessa together. And the ladies kind of come down hard on Contessa. And Contessa, she just says, I have nothing to go by. She didn't call me in my room. She didn't check on me. I said this last week, y'all. I said it. Y'all know I don't do a told you so's. But I said, you supposed to be the host. This supposed to be your trip. Somebody get hurt or somebody don't feel well on the trip. You're supposed to check on them. You're supposed to see about them and make sure they copacetic. Everybody knows that in the hospitality game. If you've had any type of rearing whatsoever, you know what you're supposed to be doing in terms of compassion and empathy. But Toya don't want to hear it. So later on, when they go out on the boat, Aiden has planned sort of like a love cruise. It's a nice boat. And they're gonna, oh no, that's not what it was. They all got ready for dinner. That's what it was. They all got ready for dinner and sitting around the dinner table. It's just, I mean, it had all the makings of a wonderful night. The couples were able to sit next to each other. There was conversation about um, intimacy. This whole night was supposed to be about intimacy and affection for one another. Of course, the bull in the china shop wants to let everybody know that Dr. Damon likes to keep her mouth full. I'm like, that's because you talk too much, Heavenly. He really will put anything in your mouth. Anything. He would just shut you up. So everybody's like, what? What? Um, then Simone and Cecil starts talking, and Cecil said at some point, he said something about getting all together, being together. Marriages work, but it really helps when you're with the right person. When you're not with the right person, you can work and work and work and toil and toil and toil, and it don't mean a hill of beans. And Simone was saying, well, y'all know sexually when it comes to sex, I am basic. And Toya was like, basic? And she was like, yeah, I am basic. Basic? What do you mean? Eugene was trying to quiet her down. Everybody else was kind of trying to let Simone talk. Let Simone talk. Now, the people that don't drink just watching. That's Jackie. Jackie don't drink, and she got a good eye on Curtis. So Curtis and Jackie always on the outside looking in. They the most basic couple out there. Anywho, Toya is trying to overtalk Simone. Simone gets into the fact that basic or not, they've been married 22 years and your husband out there masturbating. I think it says a lot about you that your husband out there masturbating. And these jabs are thrown. The ladies seem to take it in stride. Toya is trying to be in control, and Toya has been drinking. She wants to, if you don't have this biscuit, you can't talk. She decides she got the biscuit. She's made the rules. She gonna talk first. And Eugene is telling her, don't do that. Don't do that. She telling him, shut up. She trying to get him to be quiet so she can talk. It turns into this argument. Simone is in the background, chiming in here and there till she realized, oh, wait a minute, this is serious. Y'all seriously about to argue. So they step away. When they step away, Toya it just escalates. No reason for them to step away because they was arguing so loud and she was screaming, you're still talking. Shut up. Just be quiet. Be quiet so I can talk. And forget about it. They go back to the table and sit down and it's still steaming hot, and she just breaks down and start crying. It's the second time she done cried on this trip now. And she gets up and Simone takes her to the bathroom and Simone talks to her and tells her the last person you want to be arguing with on this trip is your husband. That's the man you love. This y'all anniversary. Y'all don't need to be arguing. And she's so upset. So when she comes back, she makes this excuse about being on birth control, hence the title, being on birth control. And it's got her so emotional. And of course, everybody in the confessional is like, girl, bye. What are you talking about? I think one, she had been drinking. Two, she's probably tired. And three, she probably felt a modicum of grief and embarrassed. I mean, not grief, guilt and embarrassment about how she was acting. Because Contessa had a very good point there at that pool about you haven't called me, you haven't checked on me, nothing. What am I supposed to think? And at the end, she was embarrassed that she's supposed to be hosting this wonderful romantic trip on her anniversary, her and her husband, and she just embarrassed the hell out of him by screaming and yelling at him. Okay, it was crazy. So when she sits down, she is still crying. I could tell she's emotional, but again, that alcohol, I'm sure, played a big part in it, especially when you on grain alcohol, right? It make you sweat. It make you emotional. Okay, it's yeah. So she gives a very heartfelt apology to Contessa. This is a one moment where I feel like, okay, Toya, all right. Then she turns around in an act of controlling behavior and decides that she's gonna tell Heavenly and Mariah off and reprimand them for not getting along. Now, you've been mistreating Contessa all this time, and can't nobody tell you otherwise. But now you finna bring Mariah and Heavenly together and have them sit at the foot of the teacher, and you gonna school them on what they should and should be doing. I agree with what she said about them being disrespectful to themselves and to them as a group, the whole group, and to the trip. I agree with that. But then when she said that they arguing so much and being so petty and small, they got the husbands arguing in each other's face. Well, Aiden took offense to that, even though he didn't say anything out loud, it was on his face because he didn't really feel like he handled it in that matter. And neither did Damon. They didn't get 1/10 as amped as Mariah and Heavenly did. So, she put 20 on 10. And Mariah was like, no, 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 don't do that. We're not going to do that because my husband's not going to accept, we're not going to accept that label. We're not going to accept that as truth, basically. And it seemed like Heavenly and Damon had some, scuttlebutt about it. But for the most part, Heavenly and Damon was being quiet and just listening. Mariah and Aiden was pissed off. Because when Toya went ahead and tried to explain it a little bit more, what she may have meant, because Simone took issue with it too. A lot of people at the table did. She went on to explain it, but by this time, Mariah had already been triggered. She was already on the, no, no. I do see Aiden and Mariah's point. I do. I feel like they're always trying to get Mariah to be the bigger person. Heavenly saw a lot of that. She does. And Quad was saying when somebody has something to say to Mariah, she don't know how to take it. Well, neither do Heavenly. Neither do you. Neither do Toya. Neither do Simone. Okay? Contessa and Jackie probably the only two people that take constructive criticism well. The only two people. The rest of y'all go 0 to 60 when somebody say boo to your behavior. Quad, remember last year on the ship when they were saying that you was being a little high maintenance, a little high pretentious? It's not a word. Pretentious is a word and hypertension is a word, but I likes to put them together. You was being a little hypertentious. All right? None of y'all like to take criticism well. Whether it's given well or not, it's delivered well or not, neither one of y'all like to take criticism well. All right? But this is more, getting up on Mariah. And Mariah and Aiden got up and walked off. They got up and walked off because they feel like y'all not gonna say nothing to her about this stuff she be saying about my mama. Y'all not gonna say anything about the fact that she started some of these arguments. And Aiden had a good point. Yeah, you're saying it here to me, Simone, to us right here, right now, Toya. You're saying that to us here right now, but you don't say it to the group. You don't say it in the group setting. And I think that's the right thing to do. It's the only way that it's going to keep one of the other from feeling like they being picked on. And right now, Mariah feels like she's being picked on. Okay, she do start a lot of stuff. She do be slick at the mouth. Okay, and she got a way about her, but so do Heavenly, so do Toya, so do Simone, so do Quad. They all do. They all do. But Mariah is the only person that is safe to gang up on. Okay, maybe it's because she the producer, one of the executive producers. Maybe it is because she the slickest of them all. You know what I'm saying? And it take a whole bunch of them to take that one person down. Perhaps. I don't know. But Aiden and Mariah leave because they feel like this group ain't for us. They don't support us. That's not right. So Toya wanted them to come back. They don't come back. The next day, Aiden rents the boat and Mariah has a new lease on life. She's thinking about things a lot differently and she wants to do a fresh start. One thing I love is that Aiden and Mariah always dress kind of alike in the same color scheme. And I just think it's so cute. I don't normally like dressing up, but dressing alike, but I just thought it was real cute. They get on the boat and everybody seems to be cool, calm, and collected, having a good time. Everything seems to be copacetic. Contessa feels included as well. The men, of course, are getting along. They all together, and um Contessa has made amends with, Toya has made amends with Contessa. Like, this is supposed to be a good trip. All right. And nobody's asking Quad about her marriage. It's good. It's a good moment. And Simone then she's sick of the Prosecco. She didn't had enough Prosecco. Now she wants some rum punch. Mama, you sure you want that rum punch? It's 151. Don't think for me. Don't think for me. Man, when I tell you, Contessa, they were saying, Contessa, we glad you coming back around again, and we want to incorporate you back in. And Contessa was like, y'all act like I ran off. I didn't run off. I had surgery. And Simone was like, why do you keep bringing up your surgery like you was a victim? And she said, well, when have I seen you? I've only seen you twice. You know, I've only seen you twice, and you mentioned it every time. That's that 151. That's that 151, okay? That's that rum. You loud, you wrong, you belligerent, you're verbally aggressive and physically aggressive because you in the girl's face. You keep playing the victim. You using that surgery as an excuse not to be with the group. I was like, Simone, if you don't sit your lukewarm, episode ends. It ends. It ended last week with an argument. It ends this week with an argument. Simone is out off the chain. And Contessa seems like she is just about had it. Next week is going to be the business. Y'all tell me what y'all think. What do y'all think about what I've said about the individuals, about this argument between Heavenly and Mariah, about this situation with Toya and Contessa? Toya is definitely an individual that needs something extra to do. She needs social skills. She needs to go somewhere and work with people and deal with people on a daily basis of different personalities so she can realize that she is not the sun, the moon, and the stars of every situation. How she treated Contessa was inexcusable. And then for you to sit there, okay, for you to sit there and act like that girl she had no right to ask you to check on her was wrong. You made up for it by apologizing. But at the same time, all them girls seem like they came to Contessa's defense and pulling Simone away when she was getting belligerent. Y'all tell me what you think. Put it down below. What y'all think about the men just being able to just wrap it up? You know what I'm saying? Communicate so beautifully. It is something to be said for it. Tell me what you think. Put it down below. Until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I holla.